Hi everyone, this is Nico from Suncel, a headless CMS with a visual page builder, and in this video we're gonna build this, a blog from scratch with Suncel.CMS, Next.js 13, Tailwind CSS for the style, and we will use some components from the Flowbite library. So let's get started. I already have an account and I just created my Suncel blog project. Let's open a terminal to create our project locally. So we will use the Suncel CLI, npx create Suncel app. We will give it the name Suncel blog. Do I have a Suncel account? Yes. You will choose your starter. I want to use Tailwind, and just need to wait a couple of minutes to install everything. Okay, so now the project is ready. Let's go inside this one. So Suncel blog, and I will open VS Code. Let's make it bigger. The first thing we want to do, let's zoom a bit. The first thing we want to do is to add the environment variable. So we will rename the .env.example into a .env. We will grab the Suncel key from the project. So go inside the project, go inside the API sections, grab the API key, copy paste here. Copy the revalidation secret and paste here. Okay, so now we are ready. Let's open a terminal. Let's run npm run dev. We will go into our localhost 3000. /admin. So after you need to log inside. So now we are inside the admin panel. So we will start by configuring the styling. We are already using Tailwind CSS, and in top of that we will use some component from Flowbite, and we will use the typography from Flowbite. So let's install the typography from Flowbite. So let's come back inside the project. We can stop this. We run npm Flowbite library. We go inside the Tailwind.js config, and we will add the Flowbite typography plugin. We save. Also, I will use some color from Suncel. I will extend the color from the Tailwind theme with the primary color, which is a magenta color from Suncel. So now that the style is ready, let's run again our project, and we can go inside the admin panel, and we can create our home page. So let's call it home. And because it's we want the home to be at the root, we will check the is root option. We click on create. We can go inside the home page, and we have, of course, nothing. So now we want to create our header. So for the header, we will use a component from this component from Flowbite. So let's copy this code. Let's come back inside our Visual Studio Code, and we inside the component folder there is already a layout folder in Suncel starter. So inside this layout folder we will create the header file. We will create our header component. And we will paste the code from Flowbite inside. Let's convert this code to be React compatible. Okay, and add a little slash here. Perfect. So now if we want this header to be on our homepage, we want to add it inside the layout of the page. So inside the pages, we have the dynamic slug pages. So this file will render all the pages from Suncel. And inside this file, we have the get layout. Inside this get layout, the page variable will render like the component from Suncel, so we will put the header just above it. Header, up. Okay. So we have our wrapper, our header, and the content generated. So now if we come back inside the admin, the page, we refresh. And we have our header. Okay, we don't want the element from the header to be hard-coded, so we will fetch this value from Suncel. To do this, we will create a Suncel global. So a Suncel global works as a database. So you can create a schema, and this schema will generate a form, and you will be able to add values inside this form. And in your code, you will be able to fetch those values. So in this case, we will want to have a logo and a list of a link here. Let's come back inside the code, and we will create our global. Inside the Suncel folder, we go inside our global schema, and in the starter, you already have an example of a global here. Like we will not use it, so let's let it with the enance bar. And inside the index, we want to remove the enance bar because we just deleted it. This file will be used to register our global. We will see it after. So in our global schema folder, we will create a new file. And we call this header global. It will have a type global schema, and it's mandatory to for it to have a slug. So call this header and name. Call this header. So after you will need to add all the fields that the global will contain. So just before doing this, we will register our global here. Just as a reminder, this global schema is a list of all the globals that you have, and inside your underscore app, you have your Suncel context, and inside this context, you give it the list. You give it all your global, which are inside your global schema. So this is the way to register your global. So let's come back to the admin to see if everything is working well. So we go to the admin, we go inside the global sections, and we want to create our header global. And global type will be the type of globals that we want to create. You will have the list of all the globals that you have registered. So the global are loaded when the admin is loaded. That's why we have still the previous admin bar. So let's just refresh the page. Global. We create the header, global type, and now we have the header. Okay. So we click on it, we create, and we can go inside it. We haven't put any field yet inside our global, so nothing is displayed. Okay, so let's come back inside the code, and we wanted to have a logo for our header and a list of links. The first field will be the logo, so it will be a field of type image. The slug will be logo, and the name will be logo. Okay. If we come back to the admin and we check if everything is working, boom, we have our feed logo appear, and if we can add an image after. So let's finish the schema before. So for the list of links, to create a list, we will add a field of type repeatable. The slug will be links, name, link, and the plural name. So this is the name of each item of the link, and the plural name will be like by the plural name. So in this case, links. We will give the list of fields that the list will contain. So we want a type text for the label name of the link. So let's call this label name of the field label, and the second one will be the link itself. So type link slug okay. So now if we come back to the admin, we have our logo, and here you have a button add link. And when you add link, it will add a link. Inside this link, you have the label and the link. So, or you can select an internal page, or you can type your own URL by yourself. So, in this case, let's do, for example, blog, and it will be like we haven't created anything yet. Let's just write it manually. And the second one will be, for example, about, and it will be on the path /about. For the image, I will add a new image. Okay, so we have our two lists, our logo, we can save it. So now if we come back to the code, so here we have our global, and when we will fetch it, we will receive an object with a logo with the image, and a list of links with a label and link inside. So basically we will receive this. So the result, the logo, a list, an array of a link with inside label and link. Okay. So now that we know what to expect as a type, we can come back inside our header components, and we can create our props for our header. So will be a logo of type image types. The return type of an image from Suncel is an image type. After we will have our link list. So let's create it another one. There is link. We'll have for each link a label and a link of type link type. So a link in a Suncel will have a type link type. Okay. So this header link, we put it there, and we have the properties for our header. So now let's add our type to our header, and now we can use the logo and the link. So now we will use the property to feed the elements inside the component. So first, instead of the a tag link, we will use the link from next Suncel next component. So this link is basically the same as the link from Next.js. By using this, it will prevent the click inside the page builder. It will also manage if it's an internal or an external link, and so you don't need to take care of it. Because it's the main, we just, for the href, we will just return the root, Rex item. We will use the image component from Next.js for the source. We will give the logo.src. Up for the alt, the logo. We will say it will not be empty, and we will give it 8 and width. We will not need this. Okay, so that we are good for the logo. Okay, now we will take care of the links. So we have it here. Okay, so we will only keep one, and we to have keep the style. Okay, and we will do a map with all the links. Okay, so we will have this. Let's add the key for link. We will remove link up. We want to have the label and the link, and we put the label here. Up. And yeah, we switch it, and we are good. We will use we will not use the blue. Let's replace it by primary. Okay, so the component look fine. Perfect. So now let's come back to the dynamic select pages, and we will need to give the properties. But first we need to fetch it. So in the get static props, this is the place to get the properties of the page. So here we will fetch our globals. So we want to fetch our header. So to do this, we will use a function from Suncel called get global up from Next/API. Okay. And this get global, you will need to give it the ID of your global. So let's come back to the admin page, and here you have copy ID. So we will copy this ID. We put it there. By default, the global will give you an array of content for each language. So the faster way to get the content that we want is to provide an option and to provide the language that we want to fetch. In this case, we want our project is set up in English, and the main language is English, and the code is EN. So we provide the EN, and we will fetch only the content of the English version. So inside this header, we will send it to the page. So this is the place where to send the properties of the page, and we will send the header. So we do header, and inside we want to give only the content. so the value. And inside the get layout, we will get the header from the props of the page. So this is the page, and inside we send props. So we get back the props here, and we get the header from the props. Okay. And because we type it the same way as the properties that the header expects, we can directly send all the header properties inside. So now we can come back to the admin. We go back to pages and we go to our home page, and well, we have our logo and the blog and about that we provided in the global. Well, we have a bit of styling issues that we're gonna fix. Both are active. I think we have some issues here. Let's come back to the Flowbite and yes, we pick up the first one. It's better to pick up the second one. Okay, let's pick up this one. Would be better. Because the first one was an active link, so the style was not good. Okay, right, perfect. And we want not blue, but primary. Perfect. Now we will have an issue. We need also, for the mobile version, we need to manage this pop-up button. So let's do it very simply. We will just create a simple use state is open, that is open. Okay. And hidden here. We will, so yeah, before I will use, I like to use a package called CLSX to manage multiple classes inside one. So I will use this one. So CLSX, and it will be easier for us to do some condition inside the class name and to concat multiple class. So by default we will have this and this, and after if it will be hidden, yeah, and block if it's open. Space here, okay. Refresh maybe. Oh, it's not working. It will be MD open here. Why is not working? I forgot to put the set open. So inside the button, is open. Okay. Perfect. We have our navbar. Okay, so now let's do the same for the footer. And for the footer, we will use Flowbite again, and we will use this one. So let's copy the code, and we'll come back inside our VS Code, and we will create our footer file. So inside the file, we will create our component. We will make it React compatible. So we change the class name. Same as the other one. We will change the link, all the link up with the Sunset Next.js component. And we need also a little slash here and a slash here. Up. The component is ready. So let's add it inside the layout of the page, footer. Okay. We come back to our page, we refresh, and we have our footer. Perfect. So now same as the header, we will create a global with the value. So let's go inside our global schema. By the way, I write TSX, but for the header, but just it's a TypeScript, so no need to it's just a TypeScript, so no need to put a TSX. So we create our global, so footer const footer of type global schema. The slug will be footer and the name be footer. Okay. So let's see what we need. Yes, because I changed the name of the file. Complaining. Well, it's fine. Yeah. So let's see what we need. So we need a logo, and we need a list of column, and inside this column, we will also need a list of links. Okay. So same as the header, we can copy paste. We need the logo. After we need repeatable, but this time will be a bit different. So let's just copy the beginning. There will be a repeatable of columns. So the slug we said columns, name column, and brand name columns. Let's put an uppercase here. So for each column, we will need a name, the name of the column, and a list of links. So type text slug, maybe we can call it well, just call it label, and it would be the label of the column, and name column label. And we will need a list of links. So again, another repeatable. In this case, we can copy paste this one because it will be the same. And here we will have a list of links with label and link. Okay, so we are good for the schema of the footer. We can define now inside the footer the footer properties, and will be a logo of type image. Type. We have columns and inside we have label, string, and links, which will be a list of links. So maybe sorry, same as for the header. We can just up. Type up. Now that our types have been defined, we give it to our footer. And now we can access logo and our columns. Okay, so now we can attribute the properties to the code. So it will be space same. So we just return this. The image source will be logo.src. We just say that it's not null. And same, we need to give it height and width. And let's rename in this case up logo. We can also take the alt from the logo, by the way. Logo.alt. And we need to use the image from next image. We don't need this anymore. And now we need to transform this. The grid resources. So yes, so here we're gonna map our columns. Colleagues and forget a little parentheses. Bang bang. We're gonna use this one as base. Here we will have the maybe we can directly extract label and the links. Here we're gonna have our label, and here we're gonna have the links, the list of links. So links map, link index, and will be there. So yeah, we'll have the link.label. We'll replace the a tag by link. we will give to the link values, and yes, we need to give the key. We need to give the key here, and also to give the key of the column here. So we don't need this anymore, and we can we need to keep this up. You will leave this, and this. Okay. So up, no, up. Wow. What is this part? Okay, there was also this part. So we forget to add the social medias. So let's say Suncel, okay, and now let's come back to our global, and we will add an additional schema for the social medias. So let's come back to our footer, and we need to add here the social medias. We will have an object, we will create an object with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, GitHub, and Dribble. So just to have the shape, it would look like this. And on each of them, we will have but the URL. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, GitHub, string, GitHub, and Dribble. I don't remember how many. P. Okay. Like this. Things like this. Dribble. I think it's just let me confirm the spelling. Wow, it's good. And Dribble. Okay, so we want to have this shape in our global. So we will create, so to have an object, we need to create a field of type object. So the slug will be, we said it was social media, name social media, and the fields, we need to have a field text for each social media. So we can automate this. So let's do because they will all have the same shape. So let's create Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, GitHub, and Dribble. Okay. And each of them will return type text slug e name, and we're good. So we created a field text for each Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and GitHub, and Dribble. Up to make sure. Yes, same. Okay, we good. And last thing we need to do, we need also to implement social media. So we get a social media. And I think we are good for the footer. Okay, we need to fetch a global. So same as for the header, we will do the same. This time will be footer. Up, and we will return the result. We fetch a footer, and we received up the footer. Okay. Now we need to create our footer in the admin panel, and we will get the ID and we will put it there. So let's come back to the admin. Global. We create a new global of top. We need to refresh. I don't think we have registered the global. Let's call it global. Up. I don't think we have registered the global. No. Up. We register the global inside the Suncel context. We come back, we refresh, and now we will be able to choose footer from the list. We can create. So we can decide, we will put our logo, and we can add some columns. So let's say company, for example. Let's add to link, about, and the second one will be blog / blog. Okay. Let's add another column. Let's call this legal, and add privacy policy. Up. Okay. And for the social media, Facebook. We can complete it. Voilà. Okay. No, not this one. This one. Up. So our global is saved. We can copy the ID. We come back to the code and slug. Here we put the correct ID with an footer. Okay, should be good. Let's try it. So let's come back to the admin inside our home page. We have our logo, the company, the social media. Perfect. So now let's create our first block. We will create the main hero for the homepage. So I will put you a picture of the kind of component I want. So you have an image of what I want to build. So in this component, we will have a little tag on the top left, the main title, and a subtitle. So let's come back to the code. Inside the blocks, so in the starter, you already have a block of a hero with just a simple title and subtitle. We will create another one, and we will call this main hero. Export const main hero. So it will have a type of Suncel block, and this Suncel block we will give it the properties of the block. So there is main hero props. Oops. So I said I want a tag, little tagline. It will be of type string. The title will have a type rich text type, because I want this title to have a specific style in the middle, so it will not just be a straight text. And the subtitle will also be rich text type. Okay, so I can access the tag title and subtitle. Okay, because it's a Suncel block, we need to provide a slug and a display name. So to do this, we will access the property Suncel, and inside we will give it a slug. This slug needs to be unique among all the other block. So usually I just put the same name as a component name, and the display name will be the name that will be displayed inside the page builder. Before starting everything, we can already register the block, so we can use it inside the page builder. So let's go inside the menu block. This is the place where we will register the block. We can organize the block on a multiple level, some category, block names, and the variants for each type of block. So this is the variants for the type hero, so I will add another variant. The component is main hero, and the name will be, we can use actually the same name that we put inside our display name. Okay, so now we can start to create our block. So let's create a section and the class name. We want to have a padding top bottom. And because this here is a hero, we will put padding on the, we will put some margin on the bottom. Now I want to center the element inside, so item center, and I will container mix auto. Okay, let's see how just it's looking. So when you add a component, you need to refresh the page. So now we have the component main hero, okay, and we have the beginning of our header. Great. So we will start by the title, and for this we will use custom rich text. So in the starter, we provide a wrapper for your rich text. So the rich, let's see how it looks like. So the rich text, it's completely customizable, and because the style of your rich text will be consistent in all your projects, the best way is to use to customize it once and to use this customized rich text everywhere. So the rich text in Suncel, you can define the allowed features or the elements that you will be able to select in your rich text. So for example, like the bold, italic, etc. The features HTML attributes, you will be able to customize each element of your rich text. For example, the headings, so H1, H2, H3, you will be able to give them a class, in this case headings. As your list, give a class to your list, a style to your list, a style to your paragraph, etc. etc. And you can also give a class for all your rich text. Because in this project we are using the typography of Flowbite, I will just remove all the style from the starter. We will not use. I will keep this that will allow me to override the style of a specific item. And I can remove this one. Okay. So the custom rich text, I need to give it the slug. So the slug will be the property name of the properties that we want to edit. So in this case, we want to edit the title. So the slug will be the property name of title. So title. This is used by the page builder to know which property this component need to edit. The value will be on the client side. So the value will be like the value that will be displayed. So now we have a rich text for the title, and we can edit. We will just give it a default value. So to add a default value, we go inside the Suncel schema, and we have default props. For example, so I will add a default value for all the properties that I have. So for the tag, I will have ls blog. Well, for example, for the title, I will give, because it's a rich text, I can give it some HTML, and I will give it Suncel. Okay. I will do that. And each of our properties have a default value. So if I go inside the page builder, okay, I will add again the component up. Yeah, because I put a pointer. Oh. So now if I add Suncel block, my main hero, I have my rich text here. Perfect. I will save to keep it. Now I will add some style to this title. Features, HTML attributes. I want to change the heading style. If you want more information about how the rich text is working, I will put in the description the link of the Suncel documentation, of course, but also the link of the tip-tap rich text which Suncel is using. So for the class, I want So for the style, I want like the title to be quite big. So let's see, 6 font, bold, text gray, 700. Another specificity of the rich text, the style inside the rich text is loaded when the rich text is loaded. So if you change the style inside the feature HTML attributes, you will need to reload the page. For example, if I change the style here, you can automatically see it with the hot reload. But for the style inside the rich text, you will need to reload the page, reload the component. Yeah. So it's not big enough. So let's make some change quickly. Okay. So that's more something like I want. Okay. And now I want to customize those two letters. And I don't want to have all those options too. So all of features I will only allow highlight. So I will only allow the highlight, and I will customize the highlight. Okay. So hop. So I will put a BG transparent text white, and I will create quickly a CSS class. You can create it inside a module. I will just create it quickly inside my global. And this class will we made an outline around the letter. So this is created, and I will put it there. Okay. I refresh. And now if I add some highlights, okay, it's not exactly what I want. Let me fix it. It must be, it's not white. I want it, I want the gray from, the dark gray from Tailwind, and it will be perfect. So now I just need to add my tag. So for the tag, to be able to edit the tag, it's just a simple string, so we will use the component text from Suncel component. Up. We will give it the slug. We'll give in the slug the property name that we want to edit. Tag. The value of tag is tag. You can also give, it's optional, but you can also give the type of HTML tag that you want this text to be rendered. So I want it to be a span. I will give it some style also. Semi-bold, tracking, wide, text, gray, 600, uppercase, I will put, I will wrap everything inside. Up. Okay. I want it to be a bit, yeah, I want it a bit more on the left side. So put ML minus ML. Yes, that's way better. Maybe in mobile Yeah, not in mobile. So okay, in mobile we just maybe be should be fine. Okay, now I want to add my subtitle. So for the subtitle, I will also use a custom Richtext. This will edit the property name subtitle. So we give the slug subtitle and the value subtitle. Okay. This one I will not give any features. And it's also H2, so I want to edit as a heading. Text to left. I will need to refresh. Up. Okay. I will flex justify and we also I will also add a bit of margin 20 or so, I guess. The font is too thick, so I will font scene. Maybe text 600. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, and so this I put a rich text because if it's a simple text, I will not be able to do a return carriage. So so here I can put it on 2 lane. Okay, so this we put an highlight and we save it. Okay, and we have our first block, our main. Okay, I will just remove this one. Yeah, that's better. Okay, now let's create our articles. So let's go inside the pages and we will create our blog folder. This blog folder will contain all our articles. So if we go inside the blog and we create my first article, okay, we go inside and we can see that the URL is /blog/my first article. So first thing we will do is to create the hero for all our articles. Let's go inside the Flowbite and we will use this blog page template. So first of all, we will create a block for the header, the hero of the blog template. So let's go to the source code, and it will be this part of the code. So let's come back inside our code, and we will create a new hero. So inside the blocks hero folder, let's create our blog hero. So for this block, I will use a snippet that will generate a Suncel block template. So let's call it blog hero, and let's add the space on the display name. So I have now my Suncel block template generated with the type, with my block component that inherit from the Suncel block type, and the Suncel schema with the slug of my block and the display name. So now we will copy paste what we copy it from the Flowbite, and we will transform it in as a Suncel, as a React component. Okay, perfect. So let's register our new block inside our Suncel context. So it's also a hero, so let's add it inside the hero variants, and we will use as a name Suncel.display and the name that we have defined inside our block hero. So let's come back inside, and actually let's go inside the first admin. My first article, we refresh the page, and we can add the blog hero. Okay, so the blog hero is there, but the style is not good because we don't have a layout for the blog. So for the blog, we want to have a lot of margin on the side and the content narrow in the middle. So what I like to do is to create section wrapper component to have a consistent amount of margin between each block. In this case, you can also, for example, create in the pages folder of Next, you can also create a blog folder, and you put and you create the dynamic pages inside your blog folder, and all your blog articles will have the layout that you have defined in this file. But for the example, let's create the section components. So I will create it inside the Suncel wrappers folder. So let's create section. Let's define the type first. So the sections props. It's a wrapper, so we will give it will have children. And we will also define a variant property in the case if we use this section for a different type of blocks. For example, when we create a block related to a blog page, we can define the variant blog and it will have this lot of margin on the side. But if we create a landing page and we want to have blocks for this landing page, we will define a default variant. So default and blog. Okay. Now let's create our component. It will have the React if c. Okay, we can access the children and the variant property, and it will return after the children. For the style, I will use the library CSS to have a conditional styling. So we will have two cases. If the style, if the variant is default, and the style if the variant is a blog. So if it's default, I will just use actually the default styling from Tailwind. So container mx auto, and I will add a bit of margin top bottom. And if it's blog, I will use the one from Flowbite. So it will be this one. Okay, perfect. So now I can use it inside my blog hero, and I can wrap the component. I import the component, and I will use the blog variants. Up, article. It's correctly positioned in the middle. Okay, perfect. So now what I want to do is to edit the value from this hero blog. Let's start by the title. So the title will be just a simple string. No need to have a rich text for this one. So let's define title, and it will be a string. We will access this title here, and I will use the component text from the Suncel components library. Okay. So I will go to my H1. Let's copy this for now. We will use it after. We add a slash at the end. So we need to put the slug. So the slug is a property name that this component will edit. So in this case, the property name is title, and the value will be title. And because it was H1, we will put the property tag name, and we will say that it will be a H1. This text will be a H1. We will also define a default property. So title, it will be equal to this. Okay. If we come back, now we can edit, and if we refresh and add again the block, it will have the default values that we defined. Perfect. For the other part, I want to use the values that I have from my Suncel account. So if I go inside my Suncel dashboard and I go inside my settings, I can see that I have already a profile picture. I have defined my name, the company, and my position. So I want to use this here. So how are we gonna do this? We will fetch using a Suncel function. We will fetch all the users from our project. So if I go inside my project and I go inside the user section, I can see that there is 2 users in this project. So I want to fetch those 2 users, and I want to have a select in the settings and be able to choose one of those users. And when I will select one of those users, it will autocomplete the value here. So let's come back inside the code, in the setting parts, and I will add a new settings of type select. The slug will be author, name, author. In the property, I will define the author, and it will be a user of type user, and I will import from next one. So now I expect a type author here, and this select will edit the property author. So for select, we need to give it a list of options. Because we want to fetch the user, we will use the async options. This async option, we will give it async function, and we will use the Suncel function to fetch the user. This Suncel function is called getUsers, and this function will return the list of the users of the project. Now we need to return this user in a format in the good format for the select, meaning name and a value. So I will do a map user, and I will return for each user a value. The value that will be the user, and I will return the name that will be displayed in the select, and this will be the first name, last name. So user dot first name last name. Great. That was complaining because this can be null, so I will set otherwise if it's undefined, it will be return an empty array. Okay, good. So when I select, or if I come back to the page, let's have it. I put the block hero, I click on it, and now I have the settings hotter. And it fetch my to user. Okay. And now when I want to click on it, I want it to autocomplete my the value of the author. So for the image, I will use the Next.js image. Okay, it will be the alt. We will give it author image. The source will be author avatar URL, and we will also need to give it. So this is 64, if I remember. So 64 for the height and the width. For the name, we will not put a link, so let's just edit a div, and we can give it. We will give it actually the first name, last name, author this time. It can be undefined, yes. Voila. And for this part, I will use the position at the company. We'll take care of the date just after. So we come back. I put up will be better inside this. Okay, boom. So now when I select a user, my author part, it's autocomplete. Perfect. Now for the date, I want to use the date when the article is created. So when you fetch a page using the Suncel API, you received also the date, the create date of the page. And now we need also to access this date inside our block. So because the block is from the type Suncel block, you have access to some specific properties from of a Suncel block. One of these properties is page props. So you can access the properties of the page that you have defined inside your get static props. So let's come back inside the the dynamic pages. Inside the get static props, you return the Suncel values. So what we're gonna do, we will still return all the Suncel values, but we will add another one, which is page props. And when you the values that you defined in these page props will be sent in all the blocks, and you will be able to access it with the page props property of your block. So let's say in this one, we will send an object with create at inside, and it will be the create at value of the page. So let's do page props, and inside here, create at. Okay, let's put it also here and here. Okay. Now, because it's defined inside the get static props, it's only when the page load. So let's refresh. Okay, let's add, and we have our date. So the date like this is not super sexy, so let's format it in a better way. So let's define new date. We'll say it's not null to string, and we will say it's a US format. So let's refresh again. Up. So that's better, but I want to have like the full name for the month and the day. So let's add some options, and it will be the weekday will be long, the year will be numeric, the months will be long, and the day will be numeric. Perfect. That's all. Let's refresh again. So now we have a nice format for the date. We can select the author and we can edit our title. The blog hero is done. We can save it. Okay, so now to write an article, so we need to write some text. Basically, we need to have a blog that will contain a rich text. So let's do this. Let's come back inside the code and we will create a new block. And we will call it Richtext Block. Same. I will use my snippet. So Richtext Block. It will just return rich text. I will also wrap it inside my sections. Section and variant blog. And it will just return, so like I said, the rich text. We will define rich text property will be of type rich text type. We access here, and we will give value rich text and the slug rich text. Okay, perfect. So we can come back to our page and we refresh. And now we can add. We need to register. We need to register our new block. And for example, we will just put it inside. So it's not a hero. So let's define a new type. Would be will be just text and variants, and we defined our, so the component will be Richtext blocks. We import it, and for the name we will use like for the other one, the one that we have defined inside the Suncel display name. Okay, so this time if we come back and we refresh, we will be able to add the rich text blocks. So just before, for example, we can also define, if we come back inside our rich text block, we can define also a default value. Maybe let's take the one from let's take the one from Flowbite, for example. Up. Okay, perfect. So we'll refresh, and we add Richtext blocks. Okay, perfect. We can edit. We can add H2, H3, highlight, bold, italic. You can create different section. Extra. That's perfect. So now we want to add some images. So same as for the rich text, we will just create a simple block for images. So let's take image block. Same, I will use my snippet, image block, and I will define my image of type image type. Same, I will wrap it inside the section that we have defined, variant blog, and inside we will add the image component from the Suncel Next component, because this one you will be able to edit the image directly from the page builder. You will see. So the slug will be image, and this time we don't put the value. We will directly give the image value, okay? Because this image component is the wrapper of the next image component. We will need to give it the source, so it will be image.src. We need to give it an alt, so it will be the alt or your fallback alt. You need also to give it 8 and a width. In this case, let's check. Let's check the source code for the image. What would be an ideal size? We don't have. Let's just check. For example, up 360. So the width takes it perfect. And we want also to have this rounded style. So class name will be rounded. Okay, so let's come back inside the page builder. We refresh the page, and we can add our we need to register our image. Let's create another category. This time we will say it's media, because if, for example, later we want to add some video block, for example. So components image block, and same for the name. We will give the one that we have defined inside our Suncel display name. Okay, so we refresh, and we will add the image block. Okay. Let's say Suncel. Okay, that's great. Maybe in this case we can add another image that we will use in article. Let's say France image, and will be France alt. So by default it will have an alt of France. Okay, perfect. So now I want to add a bit of margin on top button, and we will just simply add a div. Perfect, because of the Flowbite style of the div, it will add some margin top button. Okay, perfect. So we have the image, and we can also add some text on the bottom. Yes, we can save it. Great. And also, now that our article is ready, we can edit the SEO. So this pop-up will contain all the necessary SEO that your page need. You will need to define a title and a description. You can also use the page title that will try to check if the page have already a title and will autofill this. Same for the page description. And the social media. So you need to define for Facebook and for Twitter. you can do for the title and description, you can say it's the same as the generate for Twitter. For the image of the social media, you can or select your own, or you can also use this button that will select the first image. So in this case, I want to have not the profile picture, but I want to have the one from the blog. So let's say the friends one. Perfect. Twitter, I will say the same. I can also define an article for schema type. Let's say it's a blog posting, extra. And you have also some advanced settings for the robot.txt, your sitemap, extra. So I'm good for everything. I can save, and I can also publish. So now it's published. We can access it publicly. Voilà. Perfect. So one last thing I want to do is to have the possibility to add quotes to this article. So you have two options for this. One is to create a block with that will just have a quote. Another option is to extend the rich text. So to give you an example of how to extend the rich text, we will use this option. So I want to have, I want to do this kind of quote. Okay, so let's come back inside the code. And inside the rich text block, actually inside the custom rich text, the rich text from Suncel use a rich text called tip-top. This one, and this one already have an extension for the quotes, so we will just use the one, the existing one. So let's search for quotes. Okay. Let's go to read more, and we will install this extension. Perfect. Here you will have an example of how to install it. In our case, we need to add the property extension, and extension is an array of extension. So it would be it will be block quote. Okay, and already the code will be working. So if I go inside my Richtext block, and I will give it a let's go to the source code. I'll just write it there. And if I give block quote, okay, I come back inside my page, I refresh. I need to restart the project page, and I refresh, and I add a new one, a new text. It's not working. Because I haven't saved this. So now if I save and I come back, so as you can see, it was not working before because we haven't defined in the rich text a block quote. So by default, if the rich text will see a block quote tag, it will convert it inside a paragraph. So now if I refresh and I give it the rich text block, now it's working because through this extension, now the rich text understand what is a block quote. And because of the Flowbite style, it already converted inside a quote. Okay. So now also you can write a normal thing, you can like title and everything, okay, and a new quote. But Inside the menu of the rich text, there is nothing to enable or disable a quote. So we're gonna do this. There is another one called extension menu, and this one, it's an array of buttons, basically, and those buttons will be added inside this menu. So it will be an array of buttons. So to define the button, we will define an object of with inside the property element, and this element will be a function that will return the button. In this function, you will have access to the property editor. So what is editor? Let's come back to the tip-top documentation. So we can see you can trigger the quote with this button, toggle block quote. So how they do this? They define a button, and in the onClick function, they trigger this function. So editor.chain.focus.toggleBlockQuote.run. And you need to have access to this variable editor, and this is actually the same as what we have here. So we will use this one inside our function to trigger the quote. So this element function will return the button itself. So we will define the button, and for example, we will set quotes, and we will, before doing the styling, we will do the onClick function. So onClick, and we will use the one here, editor.chain. Up, okay. And if I come back to our page builder, not this page, and I refresh, if I go to rich text, I can see here that the quotes appear. The style is not there yet, but if I click on it, I can enable and disable the quote. So now we will take care of the style. Let's use, we want to have a different style when it's, for example, same as the H2, for example. When the H2 is enabled, the style change, okay? So first, we will define a value is active, and it will be editor. We can, yeah, it will be this one. Editor is active, block quote. And in the style, we will do a condition is active, and one is not active, a different style. So actually, to have the same style as what you have in the page builder for the other button, we will use a class Suncel which takes toolbar button disable, and same one with enable active. And this need to be inside an object. Perfect. So now we will refresh, and we have a quote. Instead of having a text, let's use an icon, and we will get it from React Icons. So let's install React Icons. So actually, I prefer using the React Icons all file library because it's more optimized in a way that when you get only one icon, you only get the icon that you selected. So let's use this one, and inside the React icon, let's choose a quote icon. Let's say, for example, this one, and we will import from the React icon /fa/ and instead of quotes, we will use for icon. We need to reload. We need to rerun the project. We will refresh, and now if we go to the good page, we have the icon. Perfect. So now what I want to do is on the home page. So here on the home page, to have all the last articles. To do this, let's come back inside the code, and inside the slugs, we will fetch all the last articles inside the get static props and send it to the layout, and we will display it. We want to have it only on the home page. So to do this, we have multiple options, and one is to, for example, to create one page only for the home page. So we will split this file in two files, one for all the pages other than the home page, and one for the home page. So to do this, we just remove one of the brackets, and it will take, and it will get all the pages other than the index, and we will just duplicate this page and name it index. In the index, we don't need the get static path anymore because we will only fetch one page. And on the this one, to avoid conflict with the home page, we need to exclude the home page. So to do this, in the get Suncel static path, we will use an option, page option. So in this page option, we have path option. So the way it works is when you give it a path, this Suncel get static path will return only all the pages that fit the path that you have defined here. So you can give it a regex, and what I will do is the regex that I will give it here is all the pages except the one with an empty string as for the path. So it will exclude the home page. So in the regex, I need to say it will not start by an empty space and nothing after. This path will match with all the pages of my project except my homepage, because the path of my homepage is just an empty string. So we are good. Maybe for the homepage we don't need actually this one, because this one will be used only for the article, so we can remove it. Now we need to fetch the last articles. Maybe before doing this, let's create the design so we will know what we need as properties for our last articles cards. So let's go inside the components, and we will create, will be inside the layout. So let's create it inside the layout. Let's go inside Flowbite, and I want to use this card, and I want to use, like, for the first last article I will use this card, and for the other one I will use this card. Okay, and just on top of it I want to have a title and a subtitle. Let's see if there is something. Maybe something like this. Okay, let's take this one. We'll take all of this. Okay. Okay, so we have our title and description. Let's put last articles, and the description we will let it like this. Okay, so now we can create our properties. So we will have a list of article, and let's see what we need. So we said that the card will do this, so we need the image, we need title, description, and the link to the article. All of this, actually, we have it inside the SEO of the page. So on the Facebook and Twitter metadata, we put an image, and we have the title, a description, the meta description, the meta title, and we have, of course, in the property of a page, the path. So we're gonna use the metadata of the page and the path. So before fetching, let's finish the design. So we will take this code and we will create a new component just for this card, and we will call it card with image, for example. So inside the components, let's create a new folder called card, and we will have our card with image. Okay, so okay, we good. We will create the type. We will put the type, so we will need an image source, an image alt, a title, and a description, and the link of the page. We will access them. So image. Okay. We will replace this alt by link from the Suncel component library. The link will be, in this case, just the href. So let's give it the href. The image, we need to convert it inside Next.js image. We will give the image source the image alt, and we need to give it size. So let's use for now the little trick to be fine. Yeah. Oops. Why it's complaining? Image is not defined. Image. Okay, perfect. Actually, maybe instead of having a link per item, we can do a link global to all for all the card. Let's put it top bottom, and we will remove all the other links. Leave one of no style, so we can remove it. Up. We will give the title. Here is the title, and here is a description. We will replace this blue, all the blue, by primary. Should be good. Okay, so we have our default card. Let's create this card now. So will be the same, just horizontal. Okay, and just called oops. We copy this. We will replace it there. And let the link. We replace the class by a class name. the image by the Next.js image. We can actually copy paste this part. Yeah, this. Here. And we will need to give it, we can remove, we can put actually the last name inside the link. Okay, it's pretty good. Now we will need to give a height and a width. So same trick. Height and width. Okay. After the title will be there. And the description will be there. Okay. We put a slash here. And we are good for our 2 images. Okay. So if we come back to our last articles, now we know what to expect here. So instead of this, maybe let's put it up. It will be smarter. Put it there. Article card props. Okay. And this one we will export it. And we will use it there instead of this one. Okay. And there too. Okay. Okay, so now let's write our grid that will contain the article. And depending of the size, we will have multiple cards. Now let's do our map. Articles.map. And for each article, I will display a card X, but if it's the first one, I want to display the horizontal card. Okay. And if it's not the first one, I will return the default card. Also, I will add the key. Okay. For the first one, I need also to put it inside a different container because I want the first one, so to take the full row of the grid. So let's do this. And so we can do it for each size. Okay. I think we are good. So now let's fetch, so let's put it actually. So we'll be there. And we will use articles as articles with a slash. So now we need to create this last article property. So we will fetch it. So to fetch pages, we will use a function from Suncel code called getPages. So const data last articles equal await get pages. So a function to fetch pages from Suncel. And we will give it some options so we can fetch only the article. So we defined that all the article will be inside the blog folder. So what we can do is to fetch only the pages from the blog folder. So let's come back inside admin, pages, blog, and we will get the ID of the blog that we have inside the URL. So we copy this and we say here folder and the ID of the folder. In this case, we will fetch only the page from this folder. Also, we want to limit the amount of pages that we will fetch. So let's say 10. We will only get the last 10 article. And we want to get the last article. So we will sort the article. So we said we will set sort by create at. And the order of the sort will be descendant. Also, we will define which field we want to fetch for each pages. So it will make the request faster if we only fetch the information that we need, because otherwise you will have the content of the page and everything, and it can be quite heavy. So you have two options. One is the field property, and you define the property that you want to receive. But you have also, for example, if you want to have all the property of a page and you just want to exclude the content, you can also use the exclude field. And in this case, you will say, for example, I don't want the content of the page, or the history, for example. So in our case, we just want to fetch two fields. We want to fetch the metadata, and the metadata are inside the properties. And we want to fetch the path, because it will be the link to the article. Okay, so with just this, we can create our card. So we will send these last articles. And so last articles is a list of pages. You will have the information of the count, the pages, if it's a success or anything. So we just want to send the pages. And if there is no pages, we will send an empty array. So one more thing, in the last article, we can say that if there is no last articles, we will not display anything, because actually if there is no article, we will still display the title and description. Maybe we don't want it. So let's just return nothing if the article is empty. Okay. And I think we are good. Should be fine. So let's come back inside the home page. And it's not working. And we have also a comma here. So let's see what's going on. So yeah, so articles actually here is the error. So articles, last articles contain the list of pages which have properties and paths, but we don't want properties and paths. We want this kind of type. So let's format it in a good way. So for each pages, we'll map, and we will return link page.path. And we will send actually all the information from the Facebook metadata. You will see why. So if we do page dot property dot meta dot sns dot Facebook, actually inside Facebook we have the title, the description, the image source, and the image alt. So we have all the information that we need. Okay, so now the type should be correctly formatted. If we refresh, okay, we have our image. The style is quite not good, and we have a little comma also that we need to fix. Let's come back inside the article. It's here. Okay. Now it should have disappeared. And for the image, so let's fix the style. So max. Maybe if we remove the, I wanted to do the full width, so I will remove this and I should fix to make it a bit nicer. Maybe let's increase this one. Let's put it to the max. It's a bit better. Maybe we can improve this, but for now should be okay. So we have only one article now, so only this one appear. But if we add a new article, let's add our blog. Get this. Let's put a bit of text, and let's put also an image. Image. All these. There's here, there's okay. And we can say the page we edit the SEO. Second article. Okay, social the same, and we will select the dish. Same for Twitter. Okay, good. We'll save. We publish. Now we can come back to our home page. And the last article is my second article, and I have my other article to follow. So everything is working perfectly. So now the next thing I want to do is to create a related articles section for my articles. So if I go inside one of my articles, here I want to be able to select a list of articles that are related to this article. So to do this, let's come back inside the code. And we will do two things. We will do the page settings. So here inside the page settings section, you will be able to select a list of pages. And this list of pages, after, we will fetch those informations inside the get static props. So here, this way, if you update one of the pages that you have selected for the related articles, it will be updated inside this related section part. You can also create a block to do this, but the issue is when you save the block, it will save the data at the moment where you save it. So if you update the other pages, it will not update the related section part. In the next versions of Suncel, we will add an option on this page settings, and Suncel will update the pages information automatically. But for now, we need to go through the get static props and update it ourselves. So first thing we want to do is to create a page settings. So if we go inside the Suncel folder in the page schema, we will create a new one called related article. Okay, so we will call it related articles, and the type will be content type schema. So we will create a slug related articles, so the name related articles, and for the fields we will have a repeatable type, which will be the list of articles. And on each of these articles, we want to have a type page, so to get the information of a page. And we will only select the field ID of this page. So we will be able to access this in the page settings, and will be in this shape, so related articles, and inside it will be like an array of ID. So ID 1, ID 2. This is why we put an empty slug. If we put an empty slug, it will put the value at the root. So for example, here we had we defined like a slug as a page. The result will be something like this. So an object with page on each element. In this case, like we have only the ID, we don't need an object. So if it's better to just put an empty slug, and it will become an array of string. So let's come back inside, in this case, our slugs, because this is the place where our articles are generated. And inside the get static props, we will be able to get the page settings. So to access the page settings, we need to do Suncel props and page settings. Okay. And here we will have access to the related articles dot articles. So what we want to do is to loop inside all those articles and to fetch all the pages. In this way, we will have the last information of the pages, even when they have been updated. To fetch a single page, we will use the getPage functions. The first thing we want to do is to check if in the page settings we have some related article. After we will do a promise all, and inside so an array of promise, and inside each of those promise, we will fetch the page related to the IDs that we get from the page settings. So let's do this. So the result of our promise, and it will be a type of will be a partial page. So this we get it from the Suncel Next.js API. Yeah, and now we will do a map of the related articles. And inside all of this, we will use getPages function from the Suncel API. And to fetch the correct page, we will use the IDs that we get from the page settings. Also, we will exclude the content, the save content, and the history to have a more optimized request. And the last thing we can do is to filter if the status is published. This we will define it here. Okay. And so now we have our list of related articles. Now we can send this inside the props. And in this case, actually, we can use actually the same. Let's use again actually the same as before, the same fields. And we will use also the same format because it's the same. We will use the same card. So let's do the same stuff here. And it's related. Yeah, it will have a type. Okay. So we have our list of related articles. So same as for the last articles, we will create a new layout, and this layout we will call this related article. Let's replace the last article by related. And we will use the one from before. Here we will say related article. We will let the same description. In this case, I will not put the horizontal. Okay, should be fine. One thing we forget to do is this related articles page settings. We need to include it inside the Suncel context. So same as the globals. So in the page schema, there is an index, and this index will have it's an array called content types, and inside we will put our page settings. Okay, and this content types is included here in the Suncel context. Okay, so here I have an error, so let's check it. Okay. Also, by the way, in the fields, like we use the status to filter, we also need to include it here. And so it's not page, so let's be more precise. We will pick from page the status, the properties, and the pass. Okay, and let's use the same here. Okay, so, and we can come back inside our, let's come back in the pages. So blog, and let's do it for on my first article. I forgot. So in my first article here, I have to wait. So if my article is already created and I want to add the page settings, I can edit the settings and choose the related article setting. So I can update, and the content type become related articles. Also, if I create a page, it will be same. Here I will choose my related articles for my next article. So in my first article, now in the page settings, I can add an article. So let's add my second article. Because this is fetched inside the get static props, you will need to save and to refresh to see the result. And it's not working. So let's see why. Let's come back to the code. Rated article. And I need to put the component. Articles. And here I'll get the rated articles. Here, articles equals rated article. Need to put a slash here. Yeah, perfect. So now I come back, and this time if I refresh, my second article appear here. Okay, that's perfect. So if I add, for example, multiple times the same one, I add multiple stick page. It will be the same article, but fine. So when I select it, there is no change. I save, and I refresh, and all the articles that I have selected are here. Perfect. Also, maybe for the editor, because it's not super intuitive that you need to refresh to see the result of your actions, you can also display a message just for them. So if we come back inside the related article, there is a hook. There is a group called isAdmin, and this hook will tell you if you're inside the page builder, if you're inside the admin panel. Related to this hook, for example, here you can display a message. So if it's an admin, we will display a little warning message saying please save and refresh to see the result. Voilà. And also we can also put it there. So in this case, we'll do like this. And okay, for example, we can do this. We save and we come back. Please save and refresh to see the related articles. And this only if you can only see this message if you're in a page builder. For example, if we preview the page, we will not see this message. So now our blog is quite ready. For example, let's come back. Let's publish a homepage. Okay. If we go inside the localhost 3000, we have our homepage with our nice editable hero. We have our last articles that are automatically generated related to the meta. We can go inside them. We can, on each article, we can add images, edit the text. We can add some related articles. We have a header and a footer that we can customize and edit from the dashboard. And it's super easy to add new pages. Just need to go inside the pages in the blog folder and add some pages. In this video, we have created a blog from scratch with Suncel.CMS, Next.js 13, Tailwind CSS, and some components from Flowbite. Thanks to Suncel, it's super easy to create and edit some new pages. If you want to have a look at the code, go inside our GitHub. All the links are in the description. Hope you have enjoyed this video and see you in the next one. Bye bye.